So I don't know where we got truncated, but I was talking about how the metaphor, right? Prehistorical man had no capacity to really apprehend what he looked like. You know what I'm saying? Unless he stooped so low on bent knee in a fucking lake or like a piece of frozen tundra. It's the only time that a man could really apprehend his appearance. And so prehistoric men had a salient quality about them where they were projecting outward because that's what men do, right? They're thrusters. They thrust into life. It's a very it's a it's you don't want to come from the first person perspective. You want to come from the third person perspective. We've talked about this. The bird's eye view. The bird's eye view is the apex view for men. Outside yourself. Outside yourself is the premier, quintessential, de facto, avant-garde to way to live your life. It just is. It just is. It's factual. You can go read fucking scripture. You can go read the perspectives of prehistorical men, all the great men that you guys so fervently quote on the timeline. These motherfuckers had zero concern with aesthetics or looks whatsoever. And what I'm trying to fucking explain to you is that when you are look at your contemporaries, look at your contemporaries, look at your coevals in public. Every fucking chance a man gets to look at his reflection in a fucking window shop, in a mirror, in the rear view mirror, every fucking chance a man gets, they're constantly trying to reappropriate and restructure their appearance, which is a really fucking gay way to go through life. I'm not talking about not being stylish. I'm not talking about not getting a fresh cut. I'm not talking about taking, good hygiene. All of that shit needs to be taken into consideration, but it needs to be taken into low consideration. Because here's what happens. Motherfuckers are on dates with women, and we all know this is true. What they're doing is they're trying to run out the clock because they don't have very much charisma. They don't have very much life experience. You know what I mean? It's kind of a desultory culture. And what happens is these men are sitting there at the table and they truly are there to be glanced at. They just want to be pretty for 45 minutes or an hour on the date because they genuinely believe that their good looks are gonna pull the boat. They do. They think that their good looks are gonna pull the boat and get them into the door. And it's so far from truth. It's so far from truth, and it creates this very, very self-conscious, egocentric, very bizarre pathology where you just think that you don't need much to say. You just want the clock to expire. You're just going to dribble out the basketball and pray to God that she saw you in the right lighting or the correct angle, or she saw your fucking supposed 32-inch neck in your jawline, and that everything's going to fall into place. That's sort of that's the modern male's default mode. Default mode. And I don't think men really understand or comprehend how much your life would change if you had really no idea what you looked like on a daily basis. Because then you would judge yourself from performance. Then you would judge yourself on performance and character. And you'd be a lot more fucking powerful. I mean, truly, imagine a life where you had really no idea what you looked like. You know what I mean? Because men, I do believe men are instilled from birth with a fuckload of confidence. You're a man. You're the most powerful creature on earth. Why would a man be born and not have incredible, powerful confidence? That's just not possible. That's just not possible. But what has raped and subdued men's confidence is playing the aesthetics war, being in an aesthetics war and thinking, oh, this guy's better looking than me, so, he's going to get the bitch. No. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. So I do strongly urge you to be hyper self-aware and be cognizant of this, because there's really no reason for you to be fucking preening and pruning in the fucking mirror. There just isn't. There just isn't. Your perspective of life will drastically change if you're unaware of your general, and I want to say general, daily appearance. Your life's going to change because you're going to focus a lot more on the substance of what you have to say, and you're going to focus a lot more on the ichor, the God's ichor running through your blood, and you're going to bring that forth in a salient capacity, and you're going to do it stridently. And there's a lot more confidence in that. There's a lot more confidence in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, men have to flash their fangs sometimes. You know what I mean? You have to awaken and summon the beast. You got to be able to flash a fang. You got to be able to swipe a talon. You know what I mean? You got to be able to have swift claws out there, or you're just going to get eaten alive. So fuck the aesthetics treadmill. No one gives a fuck what you look like, except other incels on forums. That's it. That's about it. It's the only thing going on there. Now, when it comes to long-term relationships, I said this the other day, and it's a controversial topic, but I do want you to hear this. I came up with the conclusion that ambition in like the raw sugarcane form is feminine. Ambition is a feminine mode. And I'll tell you why. Women need men to push their agendas. Okay? So a woman is always going to use the shield, the aegis. She's always going to use the smokescreen of a tall, charming, handsome, well-resourced, well-calibrated man to push her agenda. And that's how it's always been in primal times. And in 2023, by the way, I want you to understand something. We're back to the primal days. It's here. It's here. Most men are generally relatively very lazy, just like lions, just like male lions, kind of patrolling the pride, you know, laying on your fucking belly, getting a fucking tan. The hard work grind shit, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. It's a forlorn, it's antiquated. I don't see it coming back anytime soon because civilization is in decline. So the sort of primal ethos is in a revival right now. Men are relatively lazy. They are. Men are relatively lazy. You got women. Let me explain to you something. Let me explain to you the natural order of a long-term relationship and how it works. Okay. And this is going to be a foreign concept to a lot of you, but this is how it is. Women are the ambitious ones. So when women get wily ideas, you know what I mean? They want to start a garden. They want to fucking bake cakes. They want to open a fucking storefront, whatever the fuck it is, clothing line, whatever. Women will advance that agenda through a well-resourced male. You know what I mean? The man's just kind of cruising. He's already got his bread. He's got his little business. He's stacking. But he's not fucking busting his guts like they did in the 50s. That's just not happening anymore. Men aren't, besides like a certain faction of society of beleaguered men, and I do want to call them beleaguered, like dudes who actually have to put in sweat equity to earn their money. There's an old saying my uncle used to tell me when I was a kid. He was like, never use your back to make money. I always thought that was a profound saying. Never use your back to make money, because your back only has so many, you know what I mean? It only has so many, it's just like your heartbeat. Your spine only has so many times it can flex and extend before it explodes like grenade shrapnel. So don't use your back to make money. And I respect motherfuckers who do, but that's a general principle that I think is very solid in 2023. Now, here's the deal. A woman will want to start that garden or start that project or whatever. She runs it by the guy, and the guy ultimately decides if he wants to do it or not. But he's like, yeah, sure, baby, start your fucking garden. Go take my credit card, go get the fucking supplies, start doing it. So my point is, women are the ambitious ones because women conquer territory. And women are the agenda advancers in life because they need a man at the tip of the spear to lead the cause. And that's what leadership really is. Now, I'm going to flip some shit on its head right now that you guys do need to hear. This whole red pill morass right now. You got guys that think that they constantly need to put their bitch in check, or they need to be super vociferous or boisterous. And they need to constantly fucking tell her what to do and control her and have this sort of Islamic sort of code, right? You got a lot of guys who are trying to be fucking super dominant with women. I got news for you. Women have far more power than a man does in a relationship. It's a fact. I don't give a fuck how alpha or rich you are. Women do hold all the cards, and the reason they hold the cards is because they have the soft power. Men have the hard power, but women have the soft power. And if you think for 1 minute that being a domineering, imperious kind of agent of chaos with women is going to get them to comply, you're in for a wild ride, my friend. You're in for a wild ride, because what you don't want to do in relationships is you don't want to awaken the soft power in a woman. You don't want to awaken that beast, because women are far more irrational than men, and they're more uncompromising in the sense that they will burn everything to the motherfucking ground. A woman doesn't give a fuck. You awaken that inner beast in a woman by trying to be Mr. fucking machismo all the time, you are gonna awaken the fucking kraken. And then what happens is you've burned trust, where the woman can no longer communicate with you because she's afraid if she tells you the truth, she's going to get punished. You know what I mean? Like about her desires or her inclinations, or women will be very transparent with a man that they respect. They'll tell you everything. They'll tell you all their secrets, which is the best position to be in. But what happens is when you start trying to be Mr. fucking alpha all the time, is it cuts off that pipeline. And now you've created a woman who's going to be very well behaved in your presence out of fear. But behind your back, she's going to be lashing out. She's going to be rebelling. She's going to be doing a bunch of fucking shady, slimy shit behind your back. And that is the worst position to be in as a male on planet Earth. When a woman doesn't feel safe with you anymore because she can't communicate, because you got to be Mr. Domineering, you got to be right all the time. And then she's just going to go in secret. She's going to go to the black market and she's going to start fucking acting out there and rebelling. And then you're going to find out anyway. And then the charade is over. The jig is up. The jig is up. So it is a very symbiotic thing. But again, I mean, there's a bunch of different, look, long-term relationships are dead for the middle class. This is going to be a super painful conversation, but it's over. It's over. You truly cannot embrace or get the full expression of female love unless you're very wealthy or poor as fuck right now. That's the landscape that we're in. And I'll tell you why. This whole advice in a long-term relationship about being unavailable is complete bullshit. It's a complete fib. It's a complete lie. It's a complete lie. You know what I mean? Like, you can either only be alpha in the streets or in the sheets. You have to pick one. All the motherfuckers that I know that are alpha in the street, they're on their wife's leash. They're on their wife's leash. Think about all the tough guys that you know. The brawlers, the pugilists, the fighters, the street guys. Think about all of them. They all get owned by women. All of them. You bet it's unanimous. Go look at all these UFC fighters who get cheated on routinely. Happens all the time, right? Because you have to pick one. You have to pick one. And what women really need above all else in this society is fun. That's all a woman really fucking cares about, is fun. And so here's what happens. You get a street tough guy, Mr. Alpha. He's gone for too long. He's gone for too long. Thinks being absent makes the heart grow fonder. You know, one of those maxims, one of those cute little maxims from 20 years ago. And then he comes home and he's made too many mistakes along the way, which scores her points. So now you're just giving her free points. And inevitably, Inevitably, you cannot assert power at home unless you're in the game with your woman often. It's impossible. The landscape is different, gentlemen. It's 2023. You have to, and when I say you have to, it should be a pleasure. You know what I mean? Like, a woman should be the pet monkey on your shoulder, representing you. She's your representative. She should be draped over you everywhere you motherfucking go. I'm talking like, in order to truly function a modern relationship, your chick is your side piece. She's your Walter PP7. It's a fact. She's your Walter PP7. She's your sidearm, fully loaded, bullets in the gun at all times. And that's how it works. Because if you don't have that, the culture is too fractured. There's too many authority figures that are going to step in and capture her attention. You know what I mean? If you're not at home as the governing body or as the superintendent, what's going to happen is your chick's just going to be scrolling fucking Instagram all day. You know what I mean? She's just going to get her programming from ulterior sources. Some form of media conglomerate is going to start programming your woman. It's a fact. It's a fact. Whereas in the 50s, you know what I mean? You could be a fucking milkman delivering glass bottles, but if your woman was at home, aside from a couple shows on TV, the programming wasn't near as insidious as it is today. Now, if you leave your chick at home for a fucking week while you're overseas, you don't even understand that woman has consumed thousands of hours of content, of programming. So then you come home and she's acting out towards you and you're like, what's going on? Well, motherfucker, you have a supra authority that is now by proxy standing in as a red shirt while you're out of the game. And that's why I'm telling you, in order to truly hold that authority that all men crave, you have to be in the game with her often. Guess what other demographic can afford to be with women often? The poor. They don't fucking work hard. They don't do jack shit. So poor motherfuckers also have the opportunity to fucking be with a bitch and be fun during the day. They don't give a fuck. But the bottom line is they're there as an entertainment source. Now, this is life on hardcore mode, by the way. If you've ever attempted to cohabitate with a woman, you will know it is the most treacherous, arduous, difficult thing you can do as a man, especially if you're in the middle of a budding business or a business in the inchoate stages. You're playing life on the hardest difficulty setting by far, because she's constantly going to try to whittle you down out of love. She's constantly going to run a full court press on you and constantly going to want to try to wear you down. And when you're at the lowest of lows, she's going to put another brick on your shoulder. You know what I mean? Women are not designed by nature to take the bricks off of you. They're designed to throw bricks on you and see what your constitutional integrity is and see if you can stand up with that extra brick. When you feel like you're going to collapse, I promise you, a chick who really loves you, she's gonna add a little plate. She's gonna add a little 2.5 plate on this fucking side of the barbell. Let's see this bitch topple. And if you can stand through that without toppling, that's when you have the breakthrough. That's when you really earn her full love, respect, and attention. Is when you can prove that she can't topple you, that she can't break you. Give it to me. I don't give a fuck. You can give me all the problems in the world, add a woman's drama to it, and you're in a fucking insane asylum. But only the best of the best can afford and even handle that path. It's brutal. It's fucking brutal. Any man in a long-term relationship, in a loving relationship, will tell you how fucking brutal it is. It's brutal. It's brutal, but you don't get to complain. That's the blessing. You don't get to complain. They do. They do, and that's the best part. That's the best part. It makes you ironclad. It makes you fucking superhuman. You got the world literally falling on your shoulders. And now you got to deal with the fact that a bitch spilled fucking apple juice on the floor and she's fucking freaking out about it. You know what I mean? Like, you're flanked. You're flanked. You're just getting it from every fucking angle. Every fucking angle. And you're just bulldozing right on through with a fucking smile. Toe still tapping. That's the game right there. That's the game right there. But the middle class has faded. It's faded because, like I said, if you're not at home, how the fuck are you going to suppress or usurp thousands of hours of Instagram videos that chicks are watching? How are you going to get in front of that? You can't. You got to be the controller of media in a relationship. You got to be the media. You got to be the news. You got to be the fucking central party command structure. That's your job. That's your fucking job. So early on in a relationship when courtship's happening and shit, yeah, of course being unavailable is fucking phenomenal. But once you saddle up and once you're shacked in with a woman that you genuinely love, sorry, pal, not gonna fly. Not gonna fly because you're gonna get twisted and corkscrewed by an alternate authority. And that's just what's gonna happen. And it's gonna happen 10 out of 10 times. Nobody is immune to it. Nobody is. So your woman is your representative. She should be draped over your shoulder wherever you go, empowering you. Your woman should be helping you make money. She should be helping you with projects. She should be doing fundamental tasks that you don't want to do. You should be offloading and offsetting and outsourcing all the shit that you don't want to do to her. And she'll do it with a fucking smile on her face. Women love doing tasks for men. You want to talk about stoking and kindling the fires. You want to keep a relationship alive for eternity. I'm talking the simplest gestures that you guys don't even understand. If you drop a fucking pen on the floor and tell her to grab it for you, a woman who loves you is delighted to pick up a fucking pen for you. I don't give a fuck what it is. They just like to do shit. They just want to provide. They just want to do things for you. Doesn't matter how trivial. That's where a female's happiness comes from. Seriously. Hey, babe, can you go grab my cigarettes from the car? She'll pop up all spry, like a little meerkat, run over there, grab it for you, retrieve it. Feels good for her. Feels good for her. She knows you're busy. She knows you don't have time for remedial tasks. You don't have time for it.